Hello and welcome everyone. This is your guide, Ryan Phoenix, taking a climb back aboard the bus for another Speedy Tour. Before we begin, I wanted to ask you a question. How often does this happen to you? You're walking around, minding your own business, when you bump into this really hot girl here. After trying to show off, or she ends up getting sent flying back in time, where she vanishes from existence there, because, yeah, time travel sucks there. You then have to fight dangerous monsters in order to set time back to normal, save the girl, and get her back home safely. And all for naught when you are arrested for kidnapping for your troubles. Happens all the time, right? Well, it did our good friend Crono, the hero of our time-traveling tale, the 16-bit masterpiece that is Chrono Trigger on the Super Nintendo. Poor Crono. The man should be given a medal. At least that's what his lawyer tells me. But instead he's thrown in the slammer. But that's not the point of this video. Instead, I have one more question I want to ask you. How many times, despite your best efforts to be a good person, are you found guilty by a certain juror? Let's call him juror number 2. Yeah, that guy. It's happened to me quite a few times. I'm sure it's happened to you also. So, what exactly is it about this one juror that makes him so hard to please? Well, first we're going to look at each one of these 7 angry men, one at a time. The first juror, he's not a big fan of greedy folks there. So if you try to sell Marle's pendant to Melchior at the fair, or if you admit to being, quote-unquote, just a bit tempted, then he will find you guilty. Number 2, we'll come back to you in a minute here, but on to number 3. If he hears the word kidnapper there, that just sets him off there. Yeah, if you try to pull Marle away from her candy picking, if you try to do this twice, then she'll scream kidnapper, and that'll get you a guilty vote from juror number 3. The 4th and 5th jurors will both vote you guilty if you flat out admit to wanting Marle's money whenever the Chancellor asks you. However, the 4th juror will also find you guilty if you pick up Marle's pendant before checking on her, after you first bump into her in the town square. Remember not to touch people's things without permission there, folks. The 6th juror is probably starving to death there, because, man, when he hears that you stole this poor old man's lunch, he'll never forgive you there. So, be sure to keep your appetite in check there, and not steal this old man's lunch. And now the 7th and final juror, well, he just flat out hates liars. Hates them with a passion. So, you had best tell the truth the entire time that you're in court here. The whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you. Meaning, whether you think you did or not, you have to say that you started things with Marle by bumping into her. I've heard rumors that if you refuse to have her follow you enough times, then you can say no, that Marle started it, but I proved that to be false there because he still voted guilty for me. But there's also, if you did steal the old man's lunch, then you are asked whether or not you did, and you are given a chance to lie about it. So if you do lie about stealing the old man's lunch, then you are also given a guilty verdict from juror number 7. And all that brings us back around to juror number 2, who has a soft spot for kittens. And when he hears the sob story about how you either saved this poor kitten or ignored the pleas of this little girl begging for her kitty cat, he tends to get pretty confused. Now, if you were to talk to the little girl, she'll cry and cry, wanting her poor lost kitty. And at this point, you can either go get the cat for her, or you can completely ignore her there. You don't have to do a thing. And she will come back in court either way and tell either of your good deeds or of how big of a meanie you truly are. But here's the real kicker. Either way, the outcome's going to be the same. You are going to get a guilty verdict. And the reason for that is, when you talk to her the first time there and she cries about missing her cat, you're already counted as getting a guilty from this juror. So even after hearing her sad story, if you went to all the effort to get the cat, all that effort is wasted there. You're still going to get the same result. So what happens if you just ignore the girl altogether there? Don't talk to her, don't get the cat, don't do anything. That would certainly be a bad thing, right? Well, actually, this could turn out better for you than talking to her and bringing the cat to her. Doing this seems to yield a random result there. For the most part, through my test runs, he will normally vote not guilty. Unless for some reason you mess something up and one of the other jurors is voting guilty, then for some reason it seems to sway more towards the guilty side there. So apparently he's pretty influenced by the other jurors in that regard. So it's pretty much just a 50-50 chance if you completely ignore the girl. So now you might be asking, how can I get an innocent verdict every time from this guy? Well, you have to pretty much be a mind reader, because you have to, without ever talking to her at all, know to get the kitten, take it to her, and then she'll be all smiles. So if you go over, grab the cat, without talking to the little girl first, and then bring it home, then you will get a not guilty verdict every time from the juror number 2. And if you did everything else right, then you'll get all 7 of these angry gentlemen to vote not guilty for you. And what's your prize? Well, you still get thrown in jail. But you do get something for your efforts. If you get all 7 not guilty votes, then you are given 6 ethers, despite this text saying that you only got 1. So it pays to be a good guy after all. Just hope that you keep your head long enough to put those ethers to use. Thank you all for watching this Speedy Tour. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care everybody.